Welcome. Will everyone please rise, and gentlemen, remove your hats as our senior singers present the national anthem. Please be seated. Thank you to the band for the wonderful processional music and to our senior singers for that magnificent rendition of the national anthem. One more time, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the John Bapst 2024 Commencement Ceremony. These young men and women have seen quite a lot in their 4 years. Their introduction to high school was a year of masks and hybrid teaching and learning. They didn't see each other's faces until the start of 10th grade. Despite that inauspicious start, they have excelled. This class has produced the highest number of distinguished graduates in the school's history. They have sent boys' soccer teams to the state finals twice. They are well prepared, determined, and have charted bright future paths for themselves across a wide spectrum, including Ivy League universities, trade schools, the military, and overseas study. They are truly an impressive, resilient group. To give you a student greeting, please welcome to the stage Ms. Marie Nemeth. Marie hails from Sargentville and is the daughter of Chris and Tara Nemeth. She's a supremely talented student and musician. She's a superior runner qualifying for states, a virtuoso violinist, and a 4-year member of our chamber orchestra, finishing her time with us as a concertmaster for the orchestra. She's going to continue to perfect her musicianship as a violin major at Ithaca College next year. Please welcome Marie to give the student welcome address. This is a super sensitive microphone.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Armistead. Welcome. Welcome, faculty and staff, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished guests, family, and friends, both in person and watching from afar. Welcome, graduates of the class of 2024. Welcome to this celebration and to the beginning of our lives as individuals in the world. It is natural to reflect on how far we've come and feel sentimental for the end of an era But more than an ending, this day marks only the beginning. So, welcome to the commencement of our future. Today, we are gathered here to receive diplomas and move our tassels from right to left, which is significant in itself, but symbolic of something much more profound. This commencement not only honors the past 4 years of our life, our education since kindergarten, and the journey we've all been on, but is an affirmation of hope. Every year, hundreds of thousands of monarch butterflies migrate across North America to spend winter months in California and Mexico. The average lifespan of monarch butterflies is a brief 2 to 6 weeks, while the last generation of the year, responsible for making the journey south, can live up to 8 to 9 months. Despite this gift of time, the whole migration cycle takes place over 4 generations of butterflies. While each monarch is on their own journey, they are all part of something bigger than themselves. A belief and trust that the next generation will fly, a representation of hope. The monarch's migration cycle is an affirmation of hope in nature, not dissimilar from the sentiment of our commencement today, honoring our part in the whole, the culmination of support that has brought each one of us here, and our responsibility and promise in being the hope for a better world. This world is bizarre and impossible to predict or control, and yet we have and believe in hope. As we take flight on our new journeys, we have countless opportunities to be embodiments of hope. This sentiment is expressed by Danusha Lamoureux in her poem, Small Kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way, when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by. Or how strangers still say, "Bless you," when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes, when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them, and for them to smile back. For the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire, only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat." It is easy to view the world as confusing and scary, but the little kindnesses that happen in our daily lives are evidence that we care about each other. Remember that we are all a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that the world has hope in us. Welcome to the commencement of our lives and a hopeful future. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Wonderful welcome address. And we have another address as a greeting from one of our international students. So please welcome to the stage, Eva Chen. Eva started school with us as an online-only student from China in 2020. She attended classes in her freshman year from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. for that entire first year. Despite the terrible hours, she excelled in all of her classes and has excelled ever since. Eva came to us from China, and she's on her way to attend New York University to study biomolecular science in the fall. Please welcome Eva for the International Student Address. It's a really sensitive microphone, so stay away from it, okay?
Good afternoon to my fellow graduates, teachers, friends, and families. I'm honored to share my perspective on behalf of the international students who are proudly graduates today with our American classmates. I first want to thank our head of school, Dr. Armistead, Broaden Program Director, Mr. Reeves, and all of the faculty and staff that have brought us to this final stepping stone of our high school career. Today, we stand at this crossroad of life, looking back and looking forward. This is an end and a beginning. Today, in this moment, we have completed the journey of high school and are about to embark on a new one. 4 years ago, I became a student of John Bapst Memorial High School, but I never left China that year. 2020 was a unique and unforgettable year for all of us because of COVID-19. I took John Bapst classes online in China that year, so I needed to adapt the completely opposite time zone. In Maine, at 8 a.m. the school started, but in China it was 8 p.m. And at 2 p.m. in Maine, when classes ended, it was 2 a.m. in China. And in the winter time, it was actually 3 a.m. in China. So I didn't go to bed until around 4 or 5 a.m. in Beijing. But beside the time difference, I found freshman year to be my easiest year academically. With almost no homework that year, it was easy to deal with the workload by night while sleeping by day. But it was hard to feel like I was a part of John Bapst's class of 2024 because I never met any of my classmates or teachers in person that whole year. In my sophomore year, I was finally able to come to America to attend John Bapst. I thought I was prepared, but the biggest problem I encountered at that time was my English. So communicating with teachers and classmates was a challenge. The English I learned in books wasn't the way people really spoke. Here's an example. Okay, everyone, what is this? No, it's a blanket. So I remember the day I moved into the school dorm and Mr. Reeves welcomed me. He showed me to my room for quarantine and asked me if I wanted another blanket. At that time, I knew bed, pillow, sheet, and quilt, but I didn't know the word blanket, so I could only look at him the eye and nod my head. Later that day, when he brought me the blanket, I finally realized what he meant. Not only did I realize that, but I also realized that my new life here was not going to be as easy as I thought. When I finally started the class in person, I was already 2 weeks late to the start of school because of quarantine. Now I was in another country alone and could barely speak the language. Starting sophomore year was a nerve-wracking experience for me, but I ended up very lucky. I've met 2 of my most important friends in biology class in my first day, Christina Judkins and Pluto Blake. They sat with me in biology class and we could always review for biology tests together. They helped me so much sophomore year and I'm so thankful to them and Miss Ortiz. Also, in my sophomore year, I went to Miss Wu's honors pre-calc, and after I didn't do very well on my first test, I went to Miss Wu's office almost every day after school to ask her questions. Thanks to her, I could get a good score in that class, and thanks to all our teachers who have helped all of us for getting here today. For most of us, junior year is the hardest, and that was no different for me. Having lots of challenging classes combined with taking the ICT and APs brought many sleepless nights, and I want to congratulate all of us for getting through junior year. As for any recent junior here today, good luck and get ready to work it. Senior year, we finished SATs and then had to work hard to apply colleges, and then make maybe the most important decision in our life so far. With this process, I once again have extensive help from my teachers, especially Dr. Ryu. Now that we are graduating, I look back in all the hard work and challenges we have faced. Since the first day of school, regardless of the obstacle we faced, we have had friends and teachers to help us. And without them, I don't think I could have made it. As Thomas Edison said, genius is 1% inspiration plus 99% perspiration. All of us are potential genius, and as long as we continue to work and persevere, we can all accomplish our dreams. The road ahead is full of unknowns and challenges. We may be lost and we may be confused. We may feel countless times, but it's this experience that make us grow and make us stronger. We have to remember that no matter what future holds, we have to face it bravely, accept it, and embrace it, because it is our lives, it is our choice, and it is our future. I have envisioned how this summer will feel countless times. Imagine what would happen at this special time. Now, as I actually stand here alongside all my friends and families, I know that this summer will be one of the most precious time of our lives. Now, as we are moving on to a new phase of our lives, we will face new challenges and difficulties. But I believe we all have the ability and courage to face them. In the day to come, let's continue to maintain the enthusiasm, passion of go forward and pursue our dreams. Finally, I would like to sincerely say to our graduates, as you go further and further on the road ahead, your life journey will sometimes, like today, be full of flowers and applause, and other times full of difficulty, but we must face the future full of hope and light. We live here today as graduates of John Bapst Memorial High School, the class of 2024. We will live here today with a diploma, with knowledge, with skills, with friends, families, and supporters. And I'm leaving here with a new blanket. Thank you all.
Thank you, Eva. I'm sure that the dorms at NYU are not as cold as the ones here, but I'm sure the blanket will also come in handy. And I love it says Crusaders on it. So, our guest speaker today is a Grammy Award-winning conductor and has served as music director for the Bangor Symphony Orchestra since 2010. Lucas Richmond has appeared as guest conductor with numerous orchestras worldwide, including most recently in Royal Oak, Michigan. And is also an accomplished composer. Mr. Richmond earned a Master of Music degree in orchestral conducting from the University of Southern California after receiving his Bachelor of Arts degree from UCLA in violin performance. Without further ado, please welcome to the podium Mr. Lucas Richmond.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. Good afternoon to the faculty, students, and graduating class of 2024. Thank you so much for granting me the honor of speaking to you at this very important event. Before I begin, I offer a big thank you to each member of the various support systems that made it possible for these fine young people to advance to this milestone in their lives. You know who you are. Now, I understand that the expectation might be for me to offer some lofty words of advice based upon literally decades of life experience since my own high school graduation. It was 1980, I was 16, and I turned my first graduating tassel on the football field at William Howard Taft High School in Woodland Hills, California. Certainly by the end of this, I might have a few pithy suggestions for you to take with you as you begin your journey post-graduation. However, as I look out at all of you, I find myself struck by the overwhelming quandary of the unknown. Yes, many of you have made plans for the near future, perhaps even for the next 4 or 5 years of your life. But those plans are merely activities in which to be engaged while you discover who it is that you actually are or want to be. Today, the training wheels come off. Today, we move to the lane at the bowling alley without the rubber bumpers. Up until now, in one way or another, you've received guidance on a daily basis as to what to eat, what to wear, what to watch, what to read, what to think, who to hang out with, and what to do outside of school, along with reminders about homework, tests, chores, deadlines, future plans, and a whole host of other things about which to be really annoyed at your parents. It's going to be up to you now to create a set of guidelines for yourself that not only set you up for success, but also give you comfort and stability while you're looking in the mirror and seeing a person who is about to embark on an incredible life's journey. Parents, as a side note, while you may have been recently accused of not knowing anything, don't worry. I predict, from personal experience, that in approximately 6.5 years, like the brightest of light switches being turned on, you will miraculously gain back all of the knowledge you are presently missing. In preparing my remarks for today, I thought I might be able to check to see who it was that spoke at my own graduation 44 years ago. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that information. Instead, I found myself going down a rabbit hole in the shape of a list of notable alumni, a list that included, now remember, this was Southern California at the end of Jimmy Carter's presidency, a list that included actors from TV shows such as The Brady Bunch and Friends, and movies like Forrest Gump and The Princess Bride, as well as musicians, sports figures, and even a Pulitzer Prize-winning author. None of us at the time had any idea where life would take us. And if my colleagues are anything like me, they're still trying to figure it out. Take a look around you. You might be sitting next to a future Academy Award winner, or the person who discovers a new source of renewable energy, or an eventual senior senator from this great state of Maine. So how can we know how to chart our course in the right direction? At the fork in the road, how will we know which path to take? Well, be true to yourself, rather than striving to be true to the image you think others might expect you to uphold. Be true to yourself, and the correct path will reveal itself to you in due time. 5 years after I graduated from high school, I found myself in a master class with one of the most respected symphonic conductors in the world, Herbert Blumstedt. Maestro Blumstedt is still conducting concerts today at the ripe old age of 96. But back in 1985, he taught me one of the most valuable lessons I have always taken to heart. He said, "No one has a career. A career is other people's estimation of your success. If you go through life thinking that you need to work on your career, you're working simply to satisfy the expectations of those around you. But instead, if you work on finding your true path, you will be giving yourself permission to evolve organically, honestly, and at your own pace." This is painfully evident when considering the downsides of social media. I will admit to having posted an event or achievement on social media and then getting immediately sucked into the notion of checking every half hour to see how many likes I've received, how many people have noticed my post, and therefore spent a moment of their day thinking about me. It's at moments like that when I have to remind myself of Maestro Blumstedt's wisdom. Don't do things just for attention, but rather do things because they're the right thing to do. Now, please understand, you're going to make mistakes along the way. I promise you, you're going to make mistakes. But no one makes a mistake on purpose. In this symphonic world, when someone flubs a note, I know it wasn't intentional. It might be unfortunate in the moment, but we have to learn to move on. Life is imperfect and life is messy. A wrong note isn't going to hurt someone or alter history. How you handle yourself after a mistake has been made will be the biggest part of your personal growth or your personal stagnation. The basis for one of the tools I most often use when teaching or working is something that I call the whoops factor. Because after a big gaffe in the middle of a performance, a speech, demonstration, sporting event, come on, we've all had them. Nothing breaks the tension better than having the guilty party simply own up to the mistake by saying, whoops, smiling, and then moving on. I first learned this in my freshman year at UCLA. Remember, I was 16. When we took on the extraordinary task of reviving Mark Blitzstein's socialist musical comedy, The Cradle Will Rock. Well, after a manic 2 weeks of rehearsal, the first night was a smash success. We got to the second performance and things were clicking along without a problem until I went on stage for what was truly a remarkable song and dance duet called Art for Art's Sake, and it happened. I completely lost track of my next lyric. Now, the director of the production, John Hall, was in the pit for the performance. He was turning pages for the wonderful pianist, so I thought it would be easy enough to simply look into the pit. John would sense my distress, feed me the lyric, and then we could all move on, right? No, quite the contrary. I remember fondly that when I did look into the pit for help, John looked up at me with a beautiful Cheshire cat grin, and instead of feeding me the lyric, took his index finger, bent it, and introduced me to the universal gesture of, "You blew it, buddy," by shoving the larger knuckle up towards his nostril and twisting. What could I do but lift my head back up out of the pit, think to myself, well, okay then, whoops, smile at the audience, and move on. No one got hurt, no one died, and I was able to be successful in the next part of the show because I had simply let go of my little blip of failure. It's one of the best lessons I've ever learned because whoops is good. The very nature of being able to say whoops projects the safety of a grounded humility instead of the danger of a false confidence. Now, of course, you can only make mistakes if you're actually there. Showing up is half the battle. I know some days it's a struggle to even get out of bed, let alone go somewhere. And what if that somewhere is a new situation with a whole variety of unknown factors? Simply showing up puts you ahead of a large percentage of folks who end up not ever even arriving. Once you're there, take the stuff you've learned and use it to bring you out of your comfort zone to try new things. Give yourself permission to take reasonable risks and experience possible failure. You'll learn from both the risks and the failures because whoops is good. I would say that the majority of performances in which I've been involved in my life have taken me out of my comfort zone, involving some sort of risk. I can't tell you how many times I've been given an opportunity to do something I hadn't yet done, and rather than say, I can't do it because I've never done it before, I simply showed up and applied the things I had already learned into succeeding in the new situation. When I was still living in Los Angeles, I got a call one morning, very last minute, to conduct a recording session for a well-known pop singer. I jumped in my car, I sat on the freeway for an hour, and when I finally arrived at the studio, I was introduced to Michael Jackson. Yes, the Michael Jackson. And then I stood in front of an orchestra and conducted a piece of music I had never seen before. Sure, I could have totally freaked out right then and there. but I used the tools I had collected in my tool chest over the years to ground me in this new situation. I do remember going back into the booth and asking Michael how he liked the recording. He said, "Oh, it sounds great. Sounds really great. It could be a little louder, though." So I suggested we'd amp things up with the brass and percussion, and he liked that idea. Everything ended up going really well that day, and it was mostly because I showed up and I was confident in being my honest self. I will always do my best work, not when I'm being the best someone everyone else thinks I should be, but rather when I am being the best me I can be. And if I do make a mistake, I own it, because whoops is good. Recognizing we've made a mistake is the first step towards good leadership. One should always take responsibility for one's failures, as opposed to blaming others when things go wrong. Many of you might see yourselves as evolving into some sort of leadership role in the future. When a young conductor asks me if they could study conducting with me, one of the questions I ask them is, what right do you have to be a conductor? Plainly speaking, what gives you the right to be the one to tell other musicians how to play their music? Contrary to popular belief, conducting an orchestra is not about wielding power over other people, or at least it shouldn't be. It's about knowing how to nurture the best out of people with whom you are collaborating. It's about conveying your trust in them while setting the highest level of integrity and culpability for yourself. Are you familiar with the phrase, "the buck stops here"? President Harry Truman kept a sign on the Resolute desk in the Oval Office that said, "The buck stops here." It's a phrase that evolved from the slang expression, "pass the buck," which means passing the responsibility on to someone else. In his farewell address to the American people given in January of 1953, President Truman referred to this concept very specifically in asserting that the president, whoever he is, has to decide. He can't pass the buck to anybody. No one else can do the deciding for him. That's his job. Now, in an orchestral rehearsal, when something gets out of sync, it would be terrible if I were to stop the orchestra and point to the second oboe player and say, "Why did you play out of time?" Or, "What's your problem?" Or, "You suck." No, I would never do that. And always be nice to the oboe player. In fact, be nice to everyone in the orchestra, everyone on your team. If something gets out of sync, I must take the blame, because clearly I was not compelling enough in the moment as a leader, offering the right information everybody needs while trusting them enough to do what they do at their utmost capability. Every time I stand on a podium in front of an orchestra, be it here in Bangor, in a recording studio in Los Angeles, or as far away as Croatia or China, I am there in my capacity as a leader. Yes, I might be conducting the orchestra, but good conducting is as dependent on good leadership skills as it is informed by musical knowledge and creative insight. I've had extraordinary teachers and mentors throughout my life, and I have learned many, many things, a multitude of information, techniques, and philosophies. However, much of that training was singularly focused. Even my own conducting teachers dealt primarily with the fundamentals of being on the podium, rarely delving into actual leadership skills, the art of embracing the psychological results of our actions and the diplomacy required when negotiating one's way through the collaborative arts. In other words, being a conductor is not just about starting and stopping the group while waving one's arm in a manner that has a modicum of connection to the music, but rather it's about leading, listening, leading, listening, cajoling, listening, leading, finessing, inspiring, listening, rerouting, fixing, listening, smiling, and guiding the music on the path of joy. So, as your life cycle spins into the next gear with the training wheels removed, I now offer my previously promised pithy suggestions, some specific words of advice to this wonderful group of graduates. Remember to surround yourself with good people and express gratitude with a smile on a daily basis. A smile goes a long way, and there is no joy without a smile. Shinichi Suzuki, founder of the International Suzuki Method for the Music Education, said, "Children learn to smile from their parents." We are all leaders in various ways, and at various times in our lives. We lead by example, we teach by example, we grow by example. I do feel blessed because the example my parents gave to me was one of many smiles and much love. As children, we were encouraged to catalyze our curiosity, pursue our interests, and to celebrate our creativity. I wish all of that for all of you. On whatever path you eventually choose, you do not need to be perfect. Just be curious, be true to yourself, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because whoops is good. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Richmond, for celebrating with us today and for your wonderful words for our students. Our salutatorian this year is Soren Peterson. Soren, will you come up, please? Soren lives in Holden and is the son of Hans and Annie Peterson. He's an absolutely outstanding student, taking and excelling in 9 AP courses over 4 years, a distinguished graduate researching the connection between music and memory and its promising applications with dementia patients, and a 3-season athlete earning all academic honors in each season, and winner of the Joe Paul and MIAA Scholar Athlete Awards. Soren is on his way to Brigham Young to study engineering in the fall. Please welcome Soren to the podium as he delivers the salutatorian address. It's a really sensitive microphone, so give it some distance.
Good afternoon. I am no stranger to graduations. I can remember just 2 years ago, I was sitting in this very room watching my brother as he received his diploma. 5 years ago, I watched my other brother's graduation. 7 years ago was my sister's graduation, and 9 years ago, back in 2015, my other sister walked across this stage to receive her diploma. To me, a graduation was an event to be celebrated. It meant that in a couple months, there would be more room in the house and more food for me as my siblings left for college. I remember watching senior nights filled with music and laughter. I remember sleepy siblings returning from project graduation. I remember graduation parties filled with gifts, friends, family, and most importantly, food. As it is now my turn to graduate, I've been reflecting on why we celebrate this achievement. Why do relatives and friends fly hundreds of miles to be here? Why the senior nights? Why the parties? Why the gifts? Why the gowns? And why the ceremony? First, we celebrate graduation because it is a significant achievement. For the past 13 years, we've been working towards this goal. 13 years. And it wasn't easy. In elementary school, we all had to endure long, hard days of being at school. We had to keep our B's and our D's separate, and we even had to tie our own shoes. I still haven't learned that one. In middle school, we had to start to balance extracurriculars and academics, choose our high school, and decide whether we were too old to trick or treat. I was not too old. I am not too old. And in high school, we came in freshman year knowing almost no one. We had to remember which side of the school was odd and which was even. Some of us still don't know. After learning to drive, we entered into the parking space war every morning. If we have learned one thing from John Bapst Memorial High School, it is how to parallel park. But some of us still struggle with that. You know who you are. But regardless, we have dedicated hundreds of hours, both inside and outside of school, which have led us to being here today. Doesn't that deserve to be celebrated? We also celebrate graduation because it represents something beyond our academic achievements. This graduation marks both the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one in our lives. Throughout high school, we have begun to figure out who we are as individuals. We have gained skills and knowledge with mentors and guidance supporting us. Parents have done laundry, cooked food, provided a room, and woke us up when we slept in. Now, the free trial has expired. Now, it is time for taxes. It is time for sleeping through 8 a.m. classes. But on a more serious note, it is time to take everything we have learned and use it to create what we want in the world. Our lives as we know them are changing, which also means that a new life is beginning. Now, I think of graduations as a different type of celebration. A celebration of not only our achievements, but also of the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. As we go our separate ways, remember to celebrate the achievements and change in your life. Thank you.
Soren? With every student, I taught them left hand grab, right hand shake, turn and smile. So we're working on that. Seniors, are you ready? We're about to begin. Please welcome to the podium Principal and Academic Dean, Mr. Jason O'Reilly, who will read the names as Mr. Richmond and Board Chair Dan LaMontagne and I present the diplomas to students. Mr. O'Reilly. Sensitive mic. I put a star next to Lily LaMontagne, so you pause and have her.
Yep. Hey, seniors, are we ready? Oh, Subhan's not ready. Hold on. Okay. Got to get this part right. Okay, so seniors, as we practice this, you're going to come up here, and as I read your name, you're going to accept your diploma and shake a few hands. I'd like to welcome to the stage Chair of the Board of Trustees Dan LaMontagne, who, along with Lucas Richmond, will help congratulate the graduates. We're also assisted today, please welcome to the stage National Honor Society President-elect Ada Sinclair Steele. You ready? Yeah, row one, come on up. Gwyneth Rand. Soren Peterson. Linyi Chen. Marie Nemeth. Albert Bai. Connor Bay. Samuel Bay. Jonah Bean. Nala Began. Veda Billings. Henry Birdsall. Bianca Blackwood. Liddy Burgoyne. Nick Boyd. Ella Brochu. Curtis Brown. Nathan Butler. Hallie Buxton. Elizabetta Conte Khan. Kelsey Carrera. Yep, row 2, come on. It's your turn. Come right up. Will Cashman. Camden Chung. Juliana Clark. Jose Kodachi. Walter Coleman. Ellis Columber. Madeline Copperthorne. Ian Craig. Ariana Cross. Violet Davis. John DeRozier. Anna Drake. Ruby Dwyer. Andrew Falkingham. Aiden Fenwick Gauchi. Milo Fleming. Garrett Fletcher. Suzanne Fussell. Catherine Griffin. Jack Guinness. Row 3, you ready? It's almost your turn. Julia Hagstrom. Aubrey Hanscom. Andy Huh. Madison Higgins. Lauren Hogan. Mimi Ibrahim. Josh Igwe. Wyatt Jameson. Yoon Sao Kim. Casey Kimball. Ellie Cool. Lily LaMontagne. Spring LaRose. Summer LaRose. Ben Lay. Sydney Legassi. Isaac Littlejohn. Christina Maggs. Ethan Marquis. Grace Martin. Tristan Martin. Mitchell Mayhew. Caitlin McGoldrick. Logan McMahon. Ludovica Mede. Avery Messer. Sarah Michaud. Baylor Miller. Zoe Moorhead. Raina Movalia. Elise Nadeau. Hui Nguyen. Dara O'Connell. Finn Oldenburg. Anis Omar. Ainsley Overlock. Evelyn Pariah. Lacey Parker. Colin Peasley. Jenna Perkins. Hui Pham. Abby Phillips. Ian Fader. Tristan Prokop. Kira Purdy. Gabrielle Rentosa. Ethan Roach. Cooper Robichaud. Abigail Ruggiero. Hayden Rollins. Dennis Romashin. Jing Russell. Una Sakaridis. Jose Sanchez Company. Kate Santos. William Sargent. Ingrid Schaefer. Congrats. Declan Schilling. Jaden Shoppy. Bryn Schreier. Ingrid Schaefer. No. Oh, I lost my place here. Just kidding. How about Kylie Seymour? Grace Slaybaugh. Alexander Smetana. Hunter Smith. Kobe Smith. Mary Spencer. Aaron Sproul. Lily Stalline. Derek Storr. Lily Tankel. Gilman Taylor. Lynn I. Trin. Alex True. Yualin Tu. Luna Rose Ulrich. Nicholas Venelito. Samantha Warren. Alexandra Wheaton. Kira Whitehouse. Phoenix Whiteley. Abby Willard. Skylar Willie. Xinyang Xu. Ethan Young. Graduates, would you all please stand? Dr. Armistead, Mr. LaMontagne, Mr. Richmond, and assembled guests, as the Principal and Academic Dean of John Bapst, it is my pleasure and privilege to present the graduates of the John Bapst Memorial High School Class of 2024. Congratulations. Graduates, using your right hand, move your tassel from right to left. Thank you all, and I'd like to invite Dr. Armistead back to the podium.
Graduates, please be seated. Thank you. Congratulations, graduates. Our valedictorian and giving the final talk this morning or this afternoon is Gwen Rand. So Gwen, please come on up. Gwen is relentlessly positive and has been a bright light in our school for 4 years. Gwen is the daughter of Brad and Betsy Rand and lives in Hamden. She's the top student of this class, also excelling at 9 AP courses over 4 years. Has an absolutely beautiful singing voice, is a state qualifying track athlete, and was one of our distinguished graduates. Her distinguished graduate project was entitled Assessing the Utility of Bacteriophage Treatment in an Increasingly Prevalent Multi-Drug Resistant Environment. If you did not understand that, you are not alone. But don't worry, Gwen certainly knows it and can talk to you about it in depth. Brigham Young is blessed this year to be getting so much John Bapst talent, as Gwen is also on her way there to study microbiology, of course, in the fall. Please welcome Gwen to deliver the valedictorian address. Come on. It's a really sensitive microphone. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Armistead. Wow. Okay. First, I want to thank my family for loving me always and helping me become the person I am today. Thank you, Mom, Daddy, Liv, and Beckham. Oh my gosh, I cry. I love you all, and I look up to you all so much. Honestly, I'm so grateful for you and the faith that you have placed in me. You make me so happy every day of my life. To my classmates, congratulations. I'm so excited and happy and obviously sad. All of the emotions. Today is a big day for us, but we are not here just to celebrate today. We are celebrating every single moment that has led up to this one. All of the little successes that have led to this success. The world wants us to define success as the big things that have the most public value, like being president or CEO or even, yes, valedictorian. In our high school careers, there have been big successes. Coming back from hybrid school, show-stopping art performances, winning the boys' regional soccer championship, and especially colleges being SAT optional. That is a big success. While all of these are impressive, I have learned that the most important successes are not the largest ones. They are the little moments that happen every day. I think an important success in our high school career was relearning to smile with our whole faces and not just our eyes. I'm serious. A simple smile has the power to make the world a better place. Smiles are the good kind of contagious. When I look back at my high school career, my happiest memories are with my friends, or at pep rallies, or at track meets. Even seeing people's faces at school, or being outside on a beautiful day. Recently, I've been obsessed with Conan Gray because his music is so fun to dance to. Beckham can confirm that I listen to him literally all the time. Anyway, he has this necklace that he wears, and it's a teardrop with a star in the middle. Conan says that he wears a teardrop for all the happiest and saddest memories in life, and remembers the star because in every one of those moments, there is magic. What this really means to me is that you can find success in everything. Maybe not right away, but you can always find it when you look. Even though COVID was all the words that mean awful, I truly believe it's helped us learn to cherish the time we have together. When we were setting up for senior prank, we connected with classmates we had never talked to before. We didn't have the opportunity to experience that our freshman year, but we can appreciate being together now. Within the teardrop of separation, there is magic in once again coming together and making memories that will last a lifetime. I feel like this last week has been eye-opening for me. Imagining not seeing you every day is so sad to me, but it helps me appreciate the little ways that I am grateful for each of you. Like hearing the whole track team cheer for me while I'm racing, or eating lunch outside with my friends, or even just smiling to people in the hallways. Those are the moments that you have given me that I will remember forever. Those are the little successes that matter. You all have made a difference in my life, and I am so grateful for that. I'm so proud of us. Let's celebrate today. But most importantly, celebrate every little thing that has led up to today. As we move on, look for the magic that happens in the memories you make and the differences that you make in people's lives, because those are the successes that really matter in life. Thank you.
We have come to the conclusion of our commencement ceremony. Thank you again to the band for helping us this afternoon. It is appropriate at this part of the ceremony, and in keeping with John Bapst tradition, the students will take the lead to process out to the green at the southeast entrance. The students will be followed by teachers, and finally those of us on the stage bringing up the rear. Families and guests are invited to join us out there to say hello and take photos. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Congratulations again to graduates and their families. Will the students and faculty please rise?